Don't forget to vote Barry for president, y'all. The video begins right after this. Before I begin, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, DraftKings. Hey football fans, the weather might be cooling down, but the action on the field is hot. And right now, you can get in on the action with my partners DraftKings Pick 6, a new way to play daily fantasy sports. All new customers who play $5 will get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and sign up with code BARRY only on DraftKings Pick 6. Crown is yours. Getting started is simple. Just download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and sign up with code BARRY. Pick at least 2 players and choose if they'll have more or less of a stat. Like, will they get more or less than 28.5 receiving yards or have more than 0.5 interceptions thrown? Lock them in and compete against others for a shot at huge cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and sign up with code BARRY only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Jets versus Houston. The Jets started with a touchdown run. Oh wait, no they didn't, because the dipshit dropped the ball before the goal line. This will happen in every game if Kamala is elected president. Unsurprisingly, the Texans scored first on a Rocky Balboa touchdown run. They missed their chance to go up by double digits though in a long field goal. The first half for Aaron Rodgers was horrendous, but the second half was great, especially for Garrett Wilson, who made several superhuman catches for touchdowns. After the Texans went up 10-7 on a field goal, it was basically all Jets. I don't know if Garrett Wilson's second touchdown is the best catch I've ever seen, but it's definitely in the top 2 or 3. The funniest part of the game was when the Texans kicked a field goal for 3 points, but then they had a penalty on the Jets, so they had another chance. They settled for a closer field goal, and they ended up getting no points on it. God, that's hilarious. That's the type of shit that would normally happen to the Jets. Oh, and by the way, Rodgers threw a long touchdown pass to Devontae Adams. It is 2024, not 2021. Although we did just set the clocks back an hour. What is the government trying to tell us? The Texans hit a field goal to make it an 8-point game, but their onside kick failed, and that's all she wrote, folks. Washington versus the Giants. Let's check in on Daniel Jones. Oh, typical status quo. Washington went up early on a touchdown pass from Jaden Daniels, but after Daniel Jones had a few sneaky athletic runs, he finally threw a touchdown pass at home for the first time in about 700 days. The Kansas City Chiefs have won 2 Super Bowls since Daniel Jones last threw a home touchdown pass. That's not a joke, by the way. Still, this Washington team is just relentless, never stopping like Ben Roethlisberger in a bathroom stall. Jaden Daniels' incredible touchdown throw just before halftime, Terry McLaurin gave them a 21-7 lead. The Giants did manage to fight back with a couple field goals. While being down multiple scores in the fourth quarter, Jones kind of padded his stats, had a nice touchdown run, but the 2-point conversion was no good. I don't know why they went for 2 here. I understand if you get it, you only have to have a touchdown and an extra point to win, but it just seems really stupid. Washington added a field goal to go up 11. The Giants would score again, and then they go for 2 again, but they missed it, so tell me exactly, they would have just been better off kicking the extra point twice, so it would have been a 3-point game. This is just terrible coaching. This is why I love the Giants and why I hope they never leave the NFC East, because they give us 2 free wins every year. Almost every year, I rather. Man boob cam. Man boob cam. Man boob cam. Atlanta versus Dallas. Cowboys went up 3-0 early, but Kirk Cousins was not to be denied on this day, leading the Falcons to a touchdown. Great play call running sideways on 4th and 1 instead of forward, you dumbasses, Mike McCarthy. This is how you get it done on 4th down. You throw to the open guy down the field and you get a touchdown. Falcons were up 14-3. Dak Prescott actually made a great play on this touchdown throw that was somehow caught, but that was about as good as it would get for the Cowboys. What the fuck is this fake punt? Seriously. I mean, come on now, let's be real. And thank goodness the Falcons scored a touchdown off of that stupid shit, because that's really what that deserves. And then Dak Prescott got hurt. It was an 8-point game in the fourth quarter for a little bit, then the Falcons scored another touchdown to essentially put the game away. Then Cooper Rush came into the game, not Trey Lance. Trey Lance is so ass, he can't even beat a guy named Cooper Rush for his backup spot. But in Cooper Rush's defense, he led one of the greatest garbage time stat juicing drives ever when he threw a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to make it a 6-point game with a minute and a half left. But the onside kick failed as usual, because the new onside kick rules are fucking dog shit and the NFL should be ashamed. I picked the Cowboys to win this game, but you know what? Surprisingly, I'm not very sad that they lost. Epic backflip. Buffalo versus the Gay Sharks. The team started by exchanging field goals, and then Josh Allen gave me PTSD with a Malcolm Butler Super Bowl type interception, which Tua and Dolphins capitalized on with a touchdown. The Bills responded with another field goal to make it a 4-point game, and they got the ball back midway through the third quarter and finally scored a touchdown to take the lead. But this is the Bills, of course, and nothing can ever be that easy, and they missed the extra point. The Dolphins again capitalized on that mistake with a field goal to take the lead again, but Josh Allen would not be denied. Folks, I think I found my Tom Brady Check Down of the Week award winner. The Bills had an 8-point drive to take a 7-point lead, but the Dolphins did not go away. Devon Achane, while wearing a Guardian cap, scored his second touchdown of the day, and I gotta be honest, I know Tua got some shit for saying he didn't want to wear the Guardian caps, but I don't blame him one bit, because they look like diaper. It literally looks like a diaper on your head, so I understand, like, having CTE is better than running around with looking like you have a diaper on your head, so I completely support Tua in that regard. So even though the score became tied at 20-20, perfect vision, it didn't last for that long. Josh Allen threw another touchdown pass, put the Bills up by 7, but the Dolphins still would not go away, just like my intrusive thoughts. God damn it. Dolphins tied the game at 27 with a minute and a half left, but thanks to a DPI call, which took up a lot of yards, the Bills decided to kick a 61-yard game-winning field goal, which they actually made. I can't believe it. They actually made it. Tennessee versus New England. Oh, gee, you won't believe this, but the Titans began by scoring a touchdown. Yeah, this isn't anything new. Or is it? Drake May had a pretty uneven day. That rhymes. I didn't mean for it to rhyme, but it does rhyme. But he was playing the Titans, who had a Malcolm Butler-esque interception in the end zone. Felt like there were a lot of those this week. The Titans maintained the lead until midway through the third quarter when the Patriots scored on a touchdown run. The Titans answered back with a field goal to tie it at 10 going into the fourth. And then Drake May's rookie status showed up as he fumbled the ball deep in Patriots territory, which led to a Titans touchdown to give them a 7-point lead. But he also had one of the best plays of the weekend. Final play of the game, he avoided about 50 people and threw a touchdown as time expired to tie the game and send it into overtime. In overtime, the Titans went on a long opening drive. Drake May said, you know what, I might have no rings, but I got 2 testicles, and that's why I'm throwing this fucker deep, and it got intercepted and the game was over. Still, the Patriots actually have some promise with May at quarterback as long as he's able to stay healthy and he learns how to slide. Carolina versus New Orleans. Saints have lost 6 in a row, but they're getting Derek Carr back, so surely against Bryce Young, they're going to be able to pull this one out. No offense to Phillip Rivers. Or not. They went up 6-0, then Bryce Young threw a touchdown pass, very rare sight. Then Taysom Tebow scored a touchdown to give the Saints the lead again. Panthers kicked a field goal to make it a 3-point game at halftime. On the opening drive of the second half, the Panthers marched right down the field for a touchdown run to go up by 4. Did I mention the Saints did a fake punt? They did a fake punt. I always love fake punts, even if they don't work out. And it did work for them, but it only ended in 3 points, so the Panthers still had a lead. That is until Carr found Foster Moreau on a great throw early in the fourth, but the 2-point conversion attempt was no good, so the Saints had just a 5-point lead. The Saints would have several chances with a chance to close it out. Young threw an interception, but they did nothing. And then Alvin Kamara ran out of bounds before Bryce Young, with the aid of the referees, got the Panthers downfield into the red zone, where Chuba Hubbard scored a touchdown with 2:18 left to put the Panthers up by 1. Only needing a field goal, Derek Carr was unable to do that, as on 4th and 4 he decided to throw a deep bomb to somebody tightly covered, and it was incomplete, and Derek Carr lost. What did I tell you guys? What did I tell you? And I know he's missed a couple games, but I told you to not buy the Derek Carr hype, because he will always end up fucking you. And I was right, of course. Baltimore versus Denver. Silly Bo Nix, interceptions are for kids. A somewhat hyped up match, this game ended up not being close at all, just like my relationship with my children. Aside from a cool trick play where Bo Nix caught a touchdown pass, Baltimore really had control of this game from start to finish. Lamar was once again on fire, and after a field goal with a minute in the first half, the Broncos didn't score the rest of the game. But the Ravens did. A lot. It was so bad that there probably should have been a mercy rule invoked, but by the time the damage was done, the Ravens had won 41-10, showing that their upset loss to the Browns last week was nothing but a little blip in the radar. I love touching your shoulder. Cincinnati versus Las Vegas. They say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, so it seems like the Raiders left their talent back in Sin City. Oh, I cracked myself up. Anyway, the Raiders actually did start out well, going up 7-0, but Joe Burrow had one of the better days of his career, throwing 5 touchdowns, including one to tie it at 7. The teams played mostly even in the first half until the very end when Burrow threw his second touchdown to make it 17-10. Then on Cincy's first possession of the second half, he threw another touchdown to go up by 14, while the Raiders Raiders were busy fumbling trick plays, which resulted in, you guessed it, more touchdown passes for Burrow, but it was not all sunshine and rainbows for Burrow. He did take a sack in the second half, and he threw a terrible pick-6 interception off of a screen. I mean, literally, this should be worth 2 pick-6s. But luckily for him, he was playing DoorDash sponsor Desmond Ridder, and that went about just as you would expect for the Raiders, before Burrow threw his 5th and final touchdown of the day to hard worker Mike Gesicki to make it 38-17, and then the Bengals were just being super naughty boys by running up the score with a field goal late, before Ridder found future Hall of Famer Brock Bowers for an incredibly clutch garbage time touchdown to reach the final score of 41-24. Chargers versus Cleveland. It's games like this that will always keep Justin Herbert high on people's top quarterbacks list, even if he doesn't really do a lot, because when he's on his game, it looks super pretty. Speaking of a game, this was never really much of one, because bad Jameis showed up, throwing several interceptions while the Chargers expanded their lead to 20-3. They had a blocked field goal with 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, which, why are you going for a field goal down 17 anyway? Like, seriously, grow some balls. The Chargers made it a 27-3 game, but not before Winston had a nice touchdown pass to make the final score a little more cosmetic, 27-10, as the Browns fell to 2-7, while the Batteries improved to 5-3. Arizona versus Chicago. I picked the Bears to win, and they fucked me in the butt. Really, really bad. I mean, really bad. This game was never really competitive. Even though it was just a 5-point game at halftime, the Bears really just let go of the rope in the second half, giving up a super long touchdown run. Have they given up any long, notable touchdowns in recent history, which gave the Cardinals a 12-point lead? Then the Cardinals expanded it to 15. Caleb Williams was taking bad sacks. Cardinals expanded it to 18, and then they got a safety, which didn't even show up on the NFL Films highlights, to end up winning this very boring and completely forgettable 29-9 game. Philadelphia versus Jacksonville. Jalen Hurts continues to play great, which is why I haven't heard his name a lot lately. But really, you're all here for one play, and this is that. This incredible backwards hurdle by Saquon Barkley, just a truly magnificent athletic display. Matrix-type shit. But there was still a game to be played. Eagles went up 10-0 early, then Trevor Lawrence had an unlucky interception, which the Eagles capitalized on with another touchdown to go up 16-0. Oh, but they weren't done yet. Early in the third, Jalen Hurts ran for a score to make it 22-0, before the Jaguars finally settled in and had an 8-point drive to make it 22-8, but then Saquon fumbled, and it was returned for a touchdown, and the Jags had another 8-point drive, which made it 22-16, and at this point, my butthole was tight as shit until Jalen Hurts released that beautiful deep ball of his, and Devonta Smith made a hell of a catch to put the Eagles back up by 12. But the game was still not over. Lawrence drove the Jaguars down the field again for another touchdown that he ran in himself sneakily. Then shit got really complicated when the Eagles missed a field goal, and Lawrence looked like he was going to drive the Jaguars for the game-winning score. Instead, he did the right thing and threw a terrible interception in the end zone, which sealed the loss. All hail Big Dom. Rams versus Seattle. It was a wildly up-and-down day for my boy Geno Smith. He started off throwing interceptions, which resulted in Rams field goals, but then he threw a touchdown on 3rd and 8 to make it 6-3. Again, I say this a lot, but this is just a rookie mistake by Stafford. He's still young. He still has a faithful wife. He'll learn from it. Geno had another incredible touchdown pass just before halftime. He seems to do that a lot this year, which gave the Seahawks a 10-point halftime lead, which was not good because I picked the Rams to win, and Sean McVay knew that, which is why he gave them a riveting speech at halftime saying they will not be allowed to see their families again if they lose this game because they would embarrass me. The big swing of the game, obviously, was the 100-plus yard pick 6 that happened early in the fourth quarter when Geno threw a terrible pass, which gave the Rams a 20-13 lead. A blocked punt by the Seahawks seemed like it was going to get them back in the game, but then Geno threw a terrible interception, his 3rd of the day. But the defense held firm, and with under a minute left, Geno finally released a bullet to Jackson Smith and Jigba, which tied the game 20-20 and sent the game into overtime, where the Seahawks turned the ball over on downs, and then Matthew Stafford threw up a prayer and said, "God, I hope it's caught," and it was caught for the game-winning touchdown to give the Rams a much-needed 26-20 road win. Detroit versus Green Bay. Pretty fitting start to this highlight. The Packers kicking a field goal and the Lions scoring a touchdown. Brandon McGrabass missed another field goal, while the Lions made theirs to make it 10-3, and then Jordan Love, who just has a tendency to make the stupidest plays imaginable, threw a terrible pick 6, which gave the Lions a 14-point halftime lead, which they expanded on pretty quickly in the second half. Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown run to make it 24-3 in crappy weather, and there was really no chance Packers were going to be able to make a comeback, especially when they're kicking field goals down by 21 1 with 50 seconds left in the third. Come on, Matt LaFleur. Have some fucking balls. The Packers got stopped on 4th and 1 before they finally scored a late touchdown for cosmetic purposes and a 2-point conversion to make the final score 24-14. I mean, look at the onside kick. If you're going to kick an onside kick, at least make sure that your guys can actually get it instead of kicking it straight out of bounds, fucking doofus. God, Dan Campbell is just a Sasquatch of a man. Look at that guy. Minnesota versus Indianapolis. What a crappy game. The Colts started off by fumbling. Sam Darnold then obliged by throwing a terrible end zone interception. And then Darnold fumbled after being thrown around like a rag doll. The ball was picked up in return for a touchdown for the Colts. The Vikings missed a field goal, but it didn't matter because the Colts missed their field goal, and then the Vikings missed another field goal. Jesus Christ, can anybody make a fucking kick in this game? Blair Walsh doesn't have to feel so bad anymore. Finally, in the third quarter, the Vikings, with their loaded offense, got on the board with a touchdown pass from Darnold. Make that 2 touchdown passes from Sam Darnold to give them a 14-7 lead entering the fourth. Joe Flacco was distracted by Anthony Richardson yawning on the sideline during this throw, which caused him to underthrow it, and it was intercepted. But once again, Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold. You might be able to take Sam Darnold off the Jets, but you won't be able to take the Jets out of Sam Darnold, as he threw a second interception, which set up an Indianapolis field goal. Colts had the ball down 4 on the Minnesota side of the field, and it did not end well. The Vikings put the game away with another touchdown pass to make it 21-10. The Colts would kick a long field goal and attempt an onside kick that was not good, unsurprisingly, because the NFL has completely neutered the onside kick rule. It's disgusting. This right here is what America's all about. 2 manly, hairy, muscular men congratulating each other and expressing their love for one another. God, it gets me so hot. Kansas City versus Tampa Bay. What a wild game this was, but it was a game that DeAndre Hopkins left his fingerprints smeared all over the walls of. The Chiefs fell behind early, shocker, but they took a lead with Mahomes' first of 3 touchdown passes. But the Bucs kept fighting, taking the lead back in the third quarter on another touchdown pass from Baker Mayfield to Cade Otton, and then expanded that lead to 7 midway through the third. And God, there's just no way the Chiefs can come back from this, especially when Mahomes seemingly had a season-ending injury on this touchdown flip, could barely walk off the field. Carson Wentz's career was relevant again for 2 minutes, and then Mahomes came back out and started doing Mahomes shit like nothing happened, because that's just what the script writers want, including throwing the go-ahead touchdown pass to Hotel Wall respecter DeAndre Hopkins. And the game seemed like it was over. There's no way the Buccaneers would score again, or would they, as Baker threw another touchdown to tie the game at 24. The Bucs surprisingly, and perhaps stupidly, did not go for 2 and the win. The Chiefs won the overtime coin toss, and yeah, it went about as you'd expect, ending with a little extra kick from Kareem Hunt into the end zone to put the Chiefs at 8-0 to keep their undefeated season chances alive.